A glance or two at dwarves in the realms. Dwarves are a lot more than gruff accents, and hopefully not bad parodies of Scottish accents. So here are some brief things to help bring Dwarves of the Forgotten Realms to life at your gaming table. We all know the Stout folk, those bearded, short beings who mine for metals and gems, forge tools and weapons, fight a lot, and go around being gruff all over the place. Well, there's a lot more to the Dwarves of the Realms than that, so let's take a look, or rather, a couple of swift glances. Dwarvish, the language, is beyond my scope this time around, and in the realms of 1200 DR through to 1500 DR, many dwarves daily use the common tongue, studded with words of Dwarvish. There's no commonly accepted reckoning of years among dwarves. They either use Dale reckoning, like many surface humans do, or they date things within a clan by the reigns of clan chieftains. X befell in the 6th year of Beruin's leadership. Dwarven kingdoms and standalone communities do the same thing. They reckon events by the 6th of Myrtle in the 2nd year Delvran held the throne, or mayor's scepter, or council head seat. When a dwarf wants to swear a solemn oath, vow something, not curse someone, they may use one of these popular oaths. By the beards of my ancestors, on the grave of my grandsire, grandmare, father, mother, by the gods who blessed my birth, by the honor of the, and here they would insert my clan, by the honor of the Foehammers. Dwarves have surnames if they're of a wealthy or important family, but far more often use a nickname or a byname, the Fierce or Heavy Hammer, as a second name, or they use their clan name as a surname. Sometimes dwarves choose names and in doing so start a new clan. For example, King Harbrom of Citadel Adbar was clanless, outcast. He spurned his clan, and they in turn spurned him. He was born an Ironheart dwarf. He and his sons now style themselves Ardbarhar dwarves, so they are a new, albeit tiny, clan. Many, or even most, dwarven clans began in this way. Clan Muritarn shattered entirely long ago in clan strife fighting, becoming 16 new small clans. Right, dwarf hair. All dwarves of the realms are more hirsute than the average human. Some female dwarves have beards, some wear false beards when going to war, as so many foes know they're fewer than males, so wipe them out and over time the dwarves dwindle, and some shave clean. Most female dwarves, if they do nothing at all to their hair, naturally have sideburns, some curving into chin-edge fringes. Unknown among dwarves of the realms without deliberate styling is curly hair. A few dwarves may have slightly wavy hair, but dwarven hair has stiff shafts like horsehair, so doesn't form tight curls, ringlets, unless treated with heat, curlers, and so on. Dwarf cuisine. Dwarven cuisine in the realms varies widely with what's locally available, but there are some common staples. Leek bread. Dwarves make them in hand loaves, which are rolls to us. Potato and leek soup. Rock crab. Rotheback, which is bison steak would be close if you're using our real-world ingredients. Fried brown cap mushrooms. And again, portobello mushrooms are close. Barley cakes or oat cakes, fried lamb kidneys, mutton chops, silverfin, which is trout to us, small fowl sausage made with minced pheasant, grouse, goose, and duck, roast boar fritters, which are apples, diced dates, flour, salt, thin sliced roast boar, all cooked together, tarnsar, which is slide friced potatoes, onions, and boar thin slice. And then there's cheese. Many dwarves will eat almost any sort of cheese with copious ale or stronger drink, but they have favorites. In particular, Alturian Grey, also known as dwarf cheese and stonework. Originated in Elturel, but these days is made in many places between Alm and Scornabel. It requires a particular mold that grows on grass and clover. It takes months to mature, but also keeps in open air for almost a year, and it looks like real-world blue cheese or Stilton. But it has marbling of black, not green or blue. The stonework nickname comes from its looks, and it's sometimes called dwarf cheese because almost all dwarves love it, hoard it, and rhapsodize over its taste. Elturian Grey has a very strong taste and smell, the latter almost like vinegar and the former like ham and pineapple fried together with hot sauce. And when it comes to disposing of waste after they've eaten, Underdark dwarf settlements farm oozes, mobile lichens, that feed on dwarf poo, though they rarely work fast enough to quell all the smells. Dwarf forging. Almost all subterranean dwarven and gnome forges use open lava flows or the heat of nearby magma flows through the rock for their heating. Dwarves are both efficient and see this as working with nature or working with the will of the gods. Dwarves also prize rare enchanted items known as forge stones. These are very hard, durable, not brittle stones, such as rock crystal, that bear permanent magic, so they heat up and cool down on command without themselves being harmed, so they can power a forge without need for fuel. With dwarven plumbing to carry or pump heated water and so transfer heat over distances, the magma that's everywhere down deep enough can be brought upwards to the shallower upper dark in select places. Dwarf communities develop around the rarer natural up vents. Dwarves can and do enchant items they forge, but dwarven culture, until the Thunder Blessing, tended to be secretive rather than sharing about magic. Adamantine. Most famous among the metals dwarves produce are mithral and adamantine. Adamantine is a supple alloy derived in part from adamant, the metal adamant. Raw adamant ore is known as adamantite. Dwarves Deep tells us that adamantine is mithral with adamantite, while Volo's Guide to All Things Magical claims adamantine is purified adamant 5/8, silver 2/8, electrum 1/8, or steel plus mithral. Don't be confused by any apparent contradictions. There are, in fact, 5 different adamantine alloys. Just mithral with adamant, that is the smelted purified adamantite ore, is more brittle than the mixes that add silver or electrum, which, by the way, is itself an alloy, though found naturally occurring. The less mithral, the less harsh the reflective gleam. You can't get adamantine without adamant, the smelted, purified, very hard but brittle metal, that is, smelted, purified adamantite, as an ingredient. You can add steel and still get adamantine, but you can't leave out adamant. An alloy of just steel and mithral yields a steel that's better than stainless steel in terms of its rust resistance. Survives a lot of rust monster attacks, for instance. However, dwarves and gnomes consider making it a waste of mithral.
Ed, so I know how I feel about being involved in this project. It's a lifelong dream for me. But how do you feel about getting the opportunity to make videos for the Realms community at large?
I love it. I could spend every day of my life doing realmslore. I hope to, and I love doing this.
If you have been enjoying the fruits of Ed's labor, please consider becoming a protector of the realms by heading on over to patreon.com/EdGreenwood. And your support there, your generosity, not only directly supports Ed, the man, but it also facilitates us being able to continue creating these videos for you here. Or hey, if you don't want to become a patron, you can also support Ed in another way by heading to his shop. I will leave a link to that in the description, where you can get all sorts of super cool official adventuring gear. But for now, please enjoy the rest of the video.
Thank you. Dwarf coins. Among themselves, dwarves chiefly trade by barter, direct goods exchanges, and whenever they buy and sell in large amounts, they use trade bars, shaped, clan mark stamped ingots of smelted metal, usually copper or gold or an electrum alloy that won't rust. The much rarer iron and silver trade bars are always everbright enchanted to prevent oxidation. However, dwarves mint all sorts of coins for others. Today, they are the chief source of counterfeit coins of long-fallen human kingdoms, trusted among merchants as better than genuine because dwarves make them as pure metal as practical and maintain consistent weights with knurled edge or other dressed edges to prevent shaving or excessive wear. Dwarves use these currencies for their inherent metal values among themselves. When making their own coins, modern dwarves usually use the denominations and forms established by the gold dwarves of the Great Rift. The gold coins, equivalent to gold pieces, are axes, thick flat coins that take the shape of double-bladed, back-to-back axe blades that are often valued at 5 GP each because of their weight and volume in purer than most coins gold. For other metals, blue shine and everbright treated silver and copper, or more often the alloys, collectively known as electrum, coins usually take the form of thin, flat, rectangular plaques, rather like the smallest gold bars of the real world today. A rounded corners, thin sheet, rather like a really thick, undersized playing card. Known among dwarves as tuth, plural, or tath, singular. They are worth less than axes, so amounts represented among humans by copper and silver pieces. Dwarf burials. See my sourcebook FR11 Dwarves Deep, pages 11 and 29, for some details. When a body can't be recovered, a weapon or tool used by the fallen is interred, if available, with a runestone marker briefly telling their tale. For example, Fealra, daughter of Jondra and Ilbram, fair of hair and kind speech. Slayer of orcs, staunch shield maiden, fell protecting her kin. Date. A good clan, insert the clan here, dwarf. A body goes into a stone sarcophagus with the same sort of inscribed runestone set into a recess in the top, just resting there. It can be freely lifted out and put back. The funeral service itself varies with family wishes, the clan customs, and the officiating clergy, that is, which deity, but always includes a mourner's chant as the body processes to its burial, and a presiding priest standing over the body, telling of the death and of the importance of the dwarf in life, ere the body is put into the sarcophagus by family members, if any are available and willing. They arrange the body with any funeral goods, such as favorite weapons or tools or art objects the fallen made, such as paintings or statuettes. After the interment, clergy sing a dirge, then everyone goes to where the clan or family, only if no clan is involved, has prepared a feast, which usually turns into a wake. Dwarves of the haunted halls of Eveningstar. The builders, that's the human term, dwarves would say delvers, of the haunted halls were the Smoothstone Hands, a traveling crew of dwarf masons led by Hardag Horn, who was, yes, of the Horn clan. Many of them were from the Arnskull and Jundith clans, but the Smoothstones weren't clanless or outcast, just Vertan, which is the dwarf word for apart from clan for work or quest purposes. And over time, the roster of the hands included dwarves of almost all of the northern clans. The majority were usually middle-aged and just over 2/3 male. Hardag's second, that is second in command, was Mrala Galogar, a long blonde-haired dwarf who could chisel a smooth, flat surface in any stone with astonishing speed, faster than mule team-powered mechanical dwarf cutters. She later married a World-Throne dwarf, and over much time became a respected matriarch of that clan. After delving the halls, the hands enjoyed almost a century of swift, very profitable work constructing crypts, wine cellars, and storage cellars for wealthy Sembian clients all across that realm. Their work can be identified by the hand mark carved low down on door frame adjacent wall blocks, a serpentine line tracing the outline of what results if you take your hands and interweave your fingers, left forefinger horizontal on top, right forefinger pressed against it, running horizontally, and in turn pressed against your horizontal left middle finger. This mark can be found in the haunted halls too, but only on undersides of the stone privy seat slabs. The dwarves who constructed the haunted halls began by ascending from the Underdark to certain natural rifts. See number 26 on the original halls map for one of them, and from these delving out horizontally level passages and rooms. Once they had a large enough chamber emptied, they constructed a magical gate to shift tools and materials in and rubble out. The rubble being piled in an outside location, in this case one of the ravines in the Shadowlands, for use in later hard flow, that is concrete, work elsewhere. Then a second such gate was established as work proceeded. Such gates are customarily used to cut down on the otherwise time-consuming and back-breaking labor of transporting mined-out bedrock out of the workings, which to dwarves who lack the means of making gates sometimes results in such laborious and time-consuming side work as breeding, feeding, and training giant slugs to act as moving rubble wagons. After the work is done, these gates are dismantled. New gates are created only where a client wants them and is willing to pay for them, and are customarily far smaller than the larger-than-heaped wagon-size construction gates. They are crafted to fit within frames and spaces constructed for them. The gates currently found in the haunted halls are of this second sort. Realms engineers of all races, including dwarves, focus on strengths of materials, stresses and strains, buttresses and support props, not what some long ago dwarf termed the imaginary language of mathematics. So there you have it, a glance or two at Dwarves of the Realms.